Hello and welcome back to the channel. Please subscribe if you haven't done it yet. Today we continue my last video when I created a Vue.js SPA with Laravel backend. Now we create the authentication part when we create the login and register page. And in the next video we will create the CRUD functionality when we will be able to create article, update article, read article and delete article inside the dashboard if you are logged in as a user. So today we are focusing on the login and registration a user into this single page application without any page reload. Okay, so we take this application one step further. In the last video we have the home and about. We will start from there. But today we will create this login and register page as well. So we will be able to save new users into our database without any page load, and then we will be able to log in the user. And of course we have a dashboard page as well. So if I say /dashboard, I got redirected back to the login page because I'm not logged in, so I'm not authorized to visit that dashboard page. So now I can type in my username and basically my email address and password. And if I hit login, I get redirected to the dashboard page, as you can see, and I can see my username and email address. These are coming from the database, and of course I can log out. So if I log out, I'm redirected back to the home page automatically, and if I try to access again that dashboard page without login, I got redirected to the login. Okay, so that's what we're doing today. This is where we finished our last video. We have about page and home page, and now we would like to create a authentication. So we will create a login page and register page, and we authenticate the user and we show them a user dashboard, where in the next video we will create a CRUD application basically, where they can create articles and save the articles and show the articles and edit the articles and delete the articles. But for today we will just create only the authentication system for this SPA with Laravel 7 on the backend. So for this we need to create a login and register navbar links on this right hand side. So let's just do that. So open up VS Code and I'm in the welcome.blade, and here is where my navigation bar. Let's just create one more flex div. Okay, and we need two router links. Let's just copy these, paste here, and first will be the login and the second will be the register. And the routes are not ready yet. We will create it soon, but this will be the login route and the second one is the register route. Right, let's have a look. Okay, and we need to say justify between, so it will be pushed in this side, and it has to be flex container as well, the main container div, so it has to be flex. And justify between. So now we should see what we expect. Here you go. So we have the home page, the about page, and we will create a login and a register. Of course we get 404 because these are not created yet. So first of all, if you would like to authenticate a single page application with Laravel, the best way is using Sanctum, previously known as Airlock. So let's just open up a Laravel website, go to the documentation, and if you go to the official packages, you will see Sanctum down here, which will be Airlock, as I just mentioned earlier. And here is the API token authentication, and here is the SPA authentication. Right, so first of all, we need to install through Composer. So let's just do this step. I'm going back to my VS Code, open up one more command line, copy and paste, hit enter. So it will install the Sanctum package for our Laravel application. Right, so this is done. Let's continue with the instructions. We need to run this command again. Let's go back, copy and paste, hit enter. That's done. And PHP artisan migrate. But at the moment we don't have any database for this application, so let's just create one. Go to the localhost PHP myadmin. Right, and let's just create a new database for this Vue SPA. Right, so now we have a database for this application. Let's go back to our VS Code and let's go to the .env file. We need to specify the database name. We have just created it. was Vue SPA in my case. My username is root and I don't have password on my local environment. Let's close this. To load this configuration file again, we need to restart the server. So let's just Ctrl+C and PHP artisan serve again. Let's go to this, hit refresh. And now we can do the PHP artisan migrate command. Okay, so our migration was successful. Let's just have a look. Hit refresh. And as you can see, we have the users table now and personal access token. We don't use this personal access token now. Anyway, and also we need to add one more line to our kernel.php. So first of all, let's copy this line up here. Okay, so let's go inside the app folder, http and kernel.php, and let's just add this line up here. And also we need one more line, this. Okay, and we need also this line. If you scroll down, you will see this API. And that's it for this kernel.php. Right, so now let's create these login and register pages. So first of all, let's just register them inside our... Right, so let's just create these two routes, login and register. These two components. So if you go to the resources.js folder, as you can see, we need to create two components. Actually 3, because if we are logged in, we need a dashboard for the user. So first of all, we need to register the user. So let's create the register view component. Okay, let's create the basic structure of the Vue components. So template. And of course we need a script as well. Okay, let's just copy this and let's create our login. Paste the previous code here and let's create the dashboard as well. And paste. Okay, so we have the 3 components. Let's go to the routes.js and let's import them. So first of all, we have a register. Second, we have a login. And the third is the dashboard. Great. Now we need to create the path for these as well. So 1, 2, and 3. So this will be the register. Register route, we will use the register component. Here it will be the login route. And we will use the login component. And same for dashboard. Right, great. So now we should at least see register, login and dashboard. We should see these components now. Okay, so let's hit refresh, login, register, and if we visit the dashboard, it should work as well. And it works. Okay, so now let's create the register form. Basically, it will be some HTML tags with Tailwind CSS classes. So I'm doing it behind the scenes, and I'm coming back and explaining what I've just done. Right, so I'm just done the login page and the register page behind the scenes. Now let's have a look at these. So these are both Vue.js components, and I'm loading them without any page reload. Right, so this is the register component, Vue component. I have a flags div here, and as you can see, I have the h1 tag for register an account, and I have one input field for the name. Here is my input field with all these Tailwind CSS classes, and this is the type of text, and I'm using vModel form.name. So if I scroll down, as you can see, inside my data return object, I created one more object called form, and I have name, email, password, and password confirmation. And I also have an errors. I'm coming back for it later on. So this form part responsible for the input fields up here. So I have the name, email, password inside this form object. So that's why if you check, I have this vModel form.name, because inside this form I'm associated with this name field. So whatever I type in inside this name input field, it will be passed down to this form object. Same with the email address. As you can see, I have vModel form.email. So whatever the user types in inside this input field, it will be populate this object here, down here. Same with the password. I have a password input field, name password, type password, and up here the type is email for the email address, of course. And I have one more input field for confirmation password. So the user has to confirm their password when they create a new account, and I'm associated with the vModel form.password confirmation to this down here. Okay, and I have a button called register. If I click on this button, I prevent the default behavior of this HTML button. So click prevent, and I want to do this save form method, which is specified down here inside these methods. I have a save form. I'm doing a Axios post request here to this API/register account API route, which is not ready yet. We will create this soon. And I'm passing to this API route this form. So everything, the name, email, password, and password confirmation will be passed to this post request, to this API route. And then if I can save the user into the database and everything was successful, then I console log saved. Or if we have any errors, for example validation errors, because the name, email, password, and password confirmation are required, and whatever the error coming back from the backend, I will save it inside this array. And then later on I can create a span, and if I have any errors, for example associated with this name field, then I can write out the error message. You will see it soon how does it works. Okay, and we have a very simple login Vue component as well. We have a h1 tag. So we're talking about this, log into your account. We have an email and password and login button, just as you can see, h1 and your email input and your password input, and the submit button, the login button, which will again perform a login user function, which is down here inside these methods. Login user, we will perform an Axios post request to this API route, API/login. We send the details, email and password by this form will be sent. So all these will be sent to this API route. And if everything is correct, then we push to the router the name dashboard. So we basically redirect the user to the dashboard page. And again, if we have any errors, then we assign it here and we can show it to the user, whatever the errors. Okay, and I just introduced this name dashboard. So this route push name dashboard. So basically I'm using named route here. So we need to set this up inside the routes.js because at the moment we have only path and we don't have any names. So let's just do that. Okay, so basically that's it. Now we have a named route. So when we redirect the user to this named route dashboard, it will automatically redirect to this path, and this component will be served to the user, will be shown to the user. Okay, so basically that's it for the Vue.js part. Now let's jump back to the Laravel part and create this API/login. But first, let's create this API/register account API route. So we need two controllers here. First, we need a register component. So let's just create that. PHP artisan make controller register controller. So PHP artisan make controller register controller. Hit enter. And let's do one for the login as well. But first of all, let's just change this route simple to the register route, not register account. Register. So let's create this API register route. If you scroll down to the routes api.php, we will create our routes here. So route, it will be a post route because we are posting to this route. And it will be a register route, and basically nearly the same for the login. Controller, let's go up to the app, HTTP controllers register component controller. We will register a user, so we would like to use app/user model, and we will save the password in a hashed version, so we will use the hashed hash class as well. And first of all, let's validate our user's input. So basically we need name, email, password, and password has to be confirmed. So let's just validate them because all of these are required. So we need to create the public function register first of all. And this register function will accept the request. Okay, so now let's validate the input fields as well. It is required as well. And it has to be email. And it has to be unique inside the users table, so unique inside the users. Okay, and the last one is the password, which is required again, of course. And it has to be at least 6 characters. It has to be inside quotes. And it has to be confirmed. I have a typo here. Required. Okay, so if the validation is okay and everything is fine, then we would like to create a new user. But of course we don't want to save the password as a plain text, we would like to hash it. That's why we import this hash class. So hash. Okay, that's fine. So we have just able to validate the request and save the new user if everything is okay. Let's just try this out. Hit refresh. Let's go to the register page. Let's type in some name. And we have errors. Register component does not exist. Yeah, because it's not component, it's controller. Sorry, it's my bad. Okay, let's have a look now. Register. And as you can see inside the console log, we have saved what we have just expected, because if you check our register view, if everything is fine with this post, then we would like to console log saved. So if we check now our database, we should see our new user there. Let's hit refresh. Users. And here you go, we have the brand new user. Okay, now let's take care about the login. So just quickly run through on again the login view. We have two input fields, email and password, and the login button, which will trigger this method down here. We perform again a post request to this API login route. We send the email and password. And if everything is fine, then we redirect the user to the dashboard page. And if we have any error, we catch that error and assign it to this array. Okay, let's do now. We have created the API route post, login, and login controller, and we would like to hit this login method inside the login controller. So let's go up, HTTP login controller. Let's create this login method. So public function login. And this will accept again a request from the. Okay, so we need to import few classes here again. We will use the authentication class and the validation exception. So let's validate the request again. And the second one is the password. Okay, so if we have both of these fields, then we would like to attempt to log in the user. So basically we are check the user database, the table inside the database, that if the email and the password combination exists. So let's just do that. So what we are doing here, we are trying to attempt to log in the user by this email and passwords. And in this case, we are return a response, JSON response. Basically, we are returning our user with a 200 status code. But if the email or the password doesn't match in the database, then we are throwing a validation exception, which gonna be this: through a validation exception with the messages. And we only have one message in this case: email, the provided credentials are incorrect. So if the email or the password doesn't match, we will send this error message back to the user, and of course we are not logs them in. Hit refresh. So we already have one account created. First I will type in a false input. So for example, of course this doesn't exist in our database. First of all, I forget to fill this password input field, and we have an error message. Again, I think I have a typo. Let's have a look again. And yeah, at this time we got this 422 status code. The given data was invalid. Password field is required. Okay, so we have the error message. If we are trying to log in now, we have email field is required and password field is required. Okay, so now let's try to log in. code@fisher.com and let's type in a valid password. Okay, so now we should be redirected to the dashboard page without any error. And yeah, we are authenticated and we are redirected to the dashboard page. Okay, so now we need to do some further adjustments. Right, we need to have to go back to the API.php, and instead of the API authentication, we would like to use the Sanctum. So now if I send a GET request to this /user, I should be able to get the authenticated user's detail back. So if I go to the dashboard and if I create a request to that /users, then I should be able to get my email address and my name and shown up here. So let's just do that. So basically we would like to get the users here, which is by default will be null. But we are sending a GET request to that API route to this /users, and it will return back our logged in users detail. So we will create a mounted, and we perform an Axios request .get, because it's a GET request, to that /API/user, and it has to be inside the quotes. Inside the response we should get the user. So inside this response I want this user to be equal to responded user. So this user, this.user, I want to make it equals to this responded user. So ris.data. Data, okay, now it should work. Let's hit refresh. We don't have any console log errors. So now if I check my Vue tab dashboard, I have a user object with my email and name. So if I go back to my VS Code up here, and if I say name and I say user.name, and let's say I would like to display my email address as well. Okay, let's have a look. And here we are, we have the name and email address from this API route. Now, of course, we would like to be able to log out. So let's just create a logout button down here. Prevent logout, okay. So now let's just create this logout method. We need a comma here, okay. So now we have this logout, which will again send a post request to the API/logout. So Axios.post API/logout. Of course, it doesn't exist yet, but I will create it. If we are able to log out the user, then we would like to redirect them back to the home page. Okay, and again we have using the name route, so let's just do that for this home. Let's go to the routes.js. If I scroll up, I will name it name home. Now let's create this API logout. So let's go to the API.php and let's create one more route for the logout. I will use the login controller for that. So it will be a post request to the logout. I will hit the login controller logout method. Let's create this logout method inside the login controller. Login controller. One more public function. And it's very easy. Auth logout. That's it. So now if I hit refresh, something went wrong. Dashboard view expected a. Okay, so I have a typo somewhere. Dashboard.view up here. The closing curly braces was at the wrong place. So let's have a look now. Yeah, we are logged in. And now we are able to click on the logout button. Push of undefined. So I must have a typo here again. Yeah, because it's not routes, it's router. Okay, hopefully no more typo here. Hit refresh. And of course we get this unauthorized method because previously when I clicked on the logout, it's logged out basically, but it doesn't push us to the home page. So let's log in again. Okay, so now if we log in, we see our details coming from the database. And if we are logged out, we are seeing the home page, we are redirected to the home page. But now if we are visiting the dashboard, as you can see, we still see this dashboard page, dashboard route. Of course, we can't see our details because we are not logged in, so it's unauthorized. But it would be much better if we try to visit this dashboard, we automatically get redirected to the login page because we are not logged in, so we shouldn't see that dashboard route at all. So let's just do that quickly. So basically it's going to be a very basic structure of the middleware. So basically inside this router routes.js at the dashboard component, dashboard path, we are creating a before enter. We have a function here. Okay, so first of all, we need to check if we are authenticated. If we are authenticated, then we can redirect the user to the dashboard. If we are not authenticated, then we would like to redirect the user to the login page. Okay, so before we are entering to this path, we would like to do this before enter. I have a typo here. Before enter, and we are doing an Axios request here. If this Axios request is successful and we get a 200 status code back, then we would like to go to the dashboard. If there is an error, so basically we are not authenticated, then we would like to redirect to the login, so we are not able to visit this dashboard page. Okay, so let's just create this API authenticated API route. Let's go. And basically I just would like to copy and paste this part, Sanctum, and this will be this authenticated. We don't have any request to accept. Delete this, and we will just simply return a true statement. Okay, so now it should work as we expected. Let's just hit refresh. And as you can see, I immediately get redirected back to the login page, so we can visit home, about, login and register, but if we are not logged in and we try to access to the dashboard page, we got redirected to login.